Greetings, Minecrafters! So, here we are for another exciting episode. My name is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I am here to help you become the boss of your brain so that you can live your very best life. It's all about getting a grip on your thoughts. And also, we talk about mindfulness, and today we're going to bring in some heartfulness, because mindfulness can really almost be synonymous with heartfulness. John Kabat-Zinn actually talks about that. And so we're going to talk about ADHDers and passion, but if you're not a fast minder, you're not in the club, it's okay, because this is still for you. Just passion is something those of us in the Fast Mind Club do really, really well because it's natural. It's so natural for us. In fact, we're also, we're often judged for it a lot because it's very difficult for those of us in the Fast Mind Club to do anything we don't really want to do. And obviously, adults, we have to do that, and we do. We're just saying it's not so easy because we operate on what we call an interest-based nervous system. So when we are super into something, we go full throttle, and this is how, movie scripts are written and books are written and things are invented and we start businesses and things like that, because then we slide into this fast mind hyper focus and just get it done, and we just get it done. So we are so passion driven. It's like, the choice at the gas station, you go through the cheap stuff, then there's the middle level of cheap stuff, and then there's the no ethanol, and then there's like high test. We're running on that. We're running on high test passion. So again, if you are not in the club, the Fast Mind Club, this is still for you, because we're going to talk about it. A lot of people don't realize that, we spend about 90,000 hours, or about a third of our lives, doing what we call working. And I have to give somebody credit for that. Shout out to Paul, S-O-H-N, Sohn, I think his name. So he's got a little YouTube out there. I didn't borrow much from him because I talk about this anyway in my Minecraft class, And also, Marty Seligman, father of positive psychology, is big on talking about the good life. And so passion is certainly involved there. Freud himself also said if you have work and love, you got it all. And the interpretation is not just having a job, but you are fulfilled. Like you got a great work life and a great, love life, whatever that means for you. And they say, you've got a job you love, a career, calling you love, you don't really work a day in your life. There's all kinds of good cliches out there about this. But I am telling you, I can't even put words on how great it is to really follow your passion and land exactly where you are supposed to be, because everybody's a spot that, exactly where they're supposed to be. So here we go. These have levels. So we've got the job, we've got the career, and up here we've got the calling. So the job is basically about what we call extrinsic motivation for the most part, right? It's coming from the motivation to do it is external, which is money. Jobs are very focused on solely acquiring money. It doesn't mean you have to be miserable. That's a misconception too. There are plenty of people out there with jobs who are focused on the paycheck and they're not miserable. Jobs don't tend to be, they also tend to be more temporary, don't have to be, but tend to be more temporary, focused on money. And they also, it's just that they might be sort of even satisfied, but typically there's not this joy and this, can't wait to get there and processing on the way home kind of thing. So jobs mainly temporary, mainly about the money. The next step up, of course, is career. And careers are sort of, jobs can lead us to careers, which is great. Jobs can lead us to careers. Careers are sort of, I think of like dominoes, not the pizza, but the game where like one taps into the other, taps into the other. And there's sort of like a succession of jobs, sort of, but they incorporate usually a little bit of life experience, some training, education like that. And there's opportunity for growth and progress. And that is not as much true for jobs. It doesn't mean it can't be, but for the most part, that lands in this area. So there's just opportunity to move up. People are often very motivated by promotions. Often the prestige goes along with a promotion or a title, the amount of the salary even, but and they're very focused on, well, in the corporate world, we would say climbing up the ladder, right? I'm in academia, so it's different. I mean, obviously there's still climbing, but it's not I don't think the same as the business world, but people are motivated for the more, a lot of other reasons besides the money, and they are somewhat fulfilled because you like it. You deliberately got into it with training and education and things like that. And then there is the calling, and the calling is something entirely different. And the idea is the jobs can lead to the careers, which can overlap with the calling, though the calling is something completely just almost like, I don't know, for me it's spiritual. You don't have to make it that. But we've all got this it's because it's authentic. And anything to me is authentic because we are divine creatures, which isn't a part of my talk today at all. Though this is where the heartfulness comes in, because the calling is something you truly believe you were put on this earth to do. Like this is, and you just feel like you're in the flow, which also comes from the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, right? Cognitive flow. So this means we're doing whatever it is, we are just so in the zone. We're so in the zone with it. And it's kind of like, I actually say this to my students, if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be teaching. And I'd still be doing YouTubes, and I'd still be doing all my well-being stuff that I do for Champlain College, because it's all very interrelated. So I've got an overlap of this career with calling, and I've definitely got the passion piece. So again, this is true for anyone, and just even a little more true for the ADHDers, because I don't know how much credit we can take for it really, because it comes so naturally to us. We can't not do it. We can't not follow our passion, because we don't do being bored very well. I think, as most of you know, if you're in the club or you're married to somebody in the club, or you got a sibling or partner, best friend, whatever, it's just not that we can't when we have to, but it's really not, we don't do it very well. We do the hyper-focused thing, and then like Cinderella, when the clock strikes midnight, we turn into a pumpkin. Because once it's not shiny and exciting anymore, we're moving on, sort of thing. One of the main reasons I think I love my role, teaching psychology at Champlain, and also the well-being role as a hybrid role, which keeps me super busy, and it's different. So I'm just surrounded by these enthusiastic young adults just every day, and it's new and it's different and it's changing every single day. Okay, let's hop over here. Okay, so we want to know where the sweet spot is. So to land here, which is hopefully where we want to land in our lives, especially this life stage at a fabulous 56, and I am there, definitely. Okay, so you can see this. Maybe I'm better over here. Okay, so we've got skill sets, and I'm a big fan of skills, as I've mentioned in other episodes, previous episodes, because I love that we can learn these. We're given what we're given, and we can say, I choose to be, maybe to take on some of what I see that's working for somebody else, or what I read, or what I saw on a YouTube, or whatever. And I can make a choice to get better at being mindful, or I can make a choice to get better at not taking things so personally, or whatever. So we have our skill set, right? We have our own unique wiring and personality, your own you, right? Your Jonathan-ness, your Michael-ness, your Caitlin-ness, your whoever-ness. You're bringing that to the table. Authentic passion, that's just, to me, that's the spiritual part. You don't have to make it that, but we've all got it in there. That's where the heartfulness comes from. It's kind of like it's more like an archaeological dig or a mystery to figure it out, because it's already in there. We just are often not listening, quite honestly. We're not listening to that inner divine voice who's saying, no, go this way, and we're saying, oh, but I'm comfortable over here. I've got my 2 weeks vacation and my 401k, even though I'm not happy, feeling pretty stagnant, and we don't listen to the voice, and then we stay stagnant on vacation too. Okay, then we've got our talents, and that's also important. That's just what we've been doing. Those are our gifts, right? So for the ADHDers, we are super mega creative and innovative. Very similar, those two are related, and not exactly the same thing, which also leads us into being really good problem solvers and thinking outside the box, or the Taco Bell thing, thinking outside the bun. And the passion is kind of like the fuel for that engine, right? The passion just drives that horse. So we've got our talents too, and then of course, whatever life experience we've had along the way, and any kind of education. And of course, there are lots of different types of education. Sometimes people have a PhD in life, and that is ultra important, or different types of trainings or whatever. So I just want to make sure that that's understood. That's lots of different things. Also a multitude of ways to be intelligent as well. So these overlapping kind of amoeba shapes, since I wasn't too good with the shapes, but anyway, in the sweet spot right there, this is where all of these overlap. So it looks maybe like a starfish. I like that better than amoebas. Okay, starfish. So the calling is the overlap of your personality or wine, your authentic you, your passion for what you were meant to do on this earth, which also can change. And then talents, life experience, education, skill set. So with my own example, and I was therapizing years ago, I mean, that did it for me. Then I'm like, wow, this is the greatest thing. And I did feel passionate about it. I loved going every day. I loved leaving every day and thinking about all of it. And then like I outgrew that. And now, and there were some things, and I did some documentaries, and I wrote some books, and that was, my passions were all in the same field, which would kind of land there, right? I was full throttle books first, full throttle books, then full throttle documentaries, then full throttle doing professional presentations all over the place. All lands kind of there, and then landing at Champlain in this wonderful role of professor, and now with my dual role, doing all these really fun, emphasis on fun, well-being projects and programs with students and with also the grown-ups in the community. The merge of those two together has me happier than Halloween, which is my favorite. In fact, I'm teetering at the top of Maslow's hierarchy because it's that sense of purpose and meaning that also Marty Seligman talks about, because that brings in the good life, right? So I should flip this. No, I don't flip that over. I have something on the other side. So I'll just tell you, the good life, we've got, just like we've got a hierarchy here, we've got pleasure on the bottom. And he's not saying pleasure's bad, pleasure's good. Have that burger, that 5-star sex or whatever. That's all loving and consensual. That's all fine. That's great. Life's all about that stuff too. A few hours at the beach, whatever. And then the flow, work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, when we lose track of time and we lose track of who we are in a good way. It's kind of like we become one with our task. In fact, I just showed something in Minecraft, I think it was Thursday. We were going over flow, and I showed them a few things. I showed them a young Michael Jackson, leaving issues aside. He was like 8 or something, flying around the stage. He's not thinking about a paycheck or anything. He's just in the zone. I then showed them a little girl surfer, who they call the Flying Squirrel. In that film, she was 7, and she's a good example for what I'm trying to say about becoming one with the task, because they showed her in those huge, curly, gigantic waves, and she's from Australia. When you watch this little 7-year-old surfing, she is like at one with the ocean. I mean, she's not separate. She's just like that. So it's bringing all of this in. So that's the flow. So pleasureful life, flow kind of life, and then the meaningful life is at the top, which also gels with Maslow. If you know about Maslow's hierarchy, because the very top of his hierarchy, right, it's about transcendence, and it's about finding your authentic self, and then also realizing that you've got a purpose bigger than you. That's the top. The bottom is like basic needs and security and safety, self-esteem, blah, 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 blah. So it's like different people saying the same thing, and it's also exciting. So then the heartfulness comes in, which John Kabat-Zinn talks about with mindfulness. This is something, because rarely in college do we say, we really want you not to think about this, right? We don't usually say don't think. We do sometimes, because with the activity actually I'm going to do shortly with Minecraft is to not think so much, kind of unhinge your prefrontal cortex just for this activity, because it's more about feeling and listening to that inner voice. And what are the deal breakers for you as far as getting to what we're going to call your career / calling? Deal breakers, meaning, do I need freedom? Do I need freedom? Not just flexibility, because that's a different kind of freedom, but freedom of expression, freedom to be creative, freedom to have my own schedule, freedom to problem solve, freedom to innovate. These are big ones for me, and thankfully I'm embraced, which is awesome. Then there, of course, there's some deal breakers that have people or maybe future managers, and they're asked to leave all that alone when we do this activity. Maybe they want to make a difference because they've seen a lot of inequity I had that in a class earlier today, seeing people treated as they're less than just because of hierarchy with jobs and, you know, not being listened to. So being an awesome manager, actually, like my husband, it's his gift in the world, no question. I love him. And it's because he takes each different person, how they are, and wants to know how they tick and what works for them, because what works for one does not necessarily work for everybody. And also to give them slack for life to happen and really, you know, treat people as human beings. And sadly, not every manager, or as a good friend of mine, JM, says that leaders with a small L, middle management, upper management, they're not the powerhouses and CEOs, but they're in charge of lots of people, which means lots of lives, lots of spirits. And the deal breaker for that person would be, I got to do my thing. I got to lead. I want to lead and be able to put my thumbprint on it as being somebody who made this person's life better. You know, they're more productive because they're happier. They're more, and they feel safe at work because they know if they come in and say, hey, I'm having some issues with my partner, I have a medical thing, or I have a child in the hospital, that person's going to listen. There are so many different things. I've had students say sometimes that they would die a slow death if they had to be in an office from 9 to 5. Okay, well, if you know that about yourself and you say it with confidence, find a new plan if you're stuck in an office. So the whole point is to really listen to that inner voice. And again, it doesn't always mean that somebody is miserable. It's just that they're not feeling satisfied and feeling, you know, overwhelming joy to be where they are. And of course, it also doesn't mean you can't have a bad day here and there, but, you know, and the idea is for this to kind of be a trickle to kind of doing your own thing. And that passion is absolutely there. We've all got it. And obviously there are times as grown-ups we have to take on stuff because of life and do things we don't want to do. We're not saying that. We're just saying hopefully this is a path, which I think career means, and it comes from the Latin of that, path, to actually listen to your own inner voice of what direction you're meant to go, because we've all got one. And how you know by how you feel. You know by how you feel because there's such an energy, you're so charged up. And I know when I'm teaching and when I'm doing all kinds of well-being presentations for my colleagues and doing different things on campus, in fact, it's a clockless campus because we want people to know, at least within the classrooms, we want students to be present, which is great. The irony in that is I have to watch the bottom of the computer because I'll keep them till midnight. Not different than when I'm presenting to, you know, the adult community at Champlain either. I'm just like, wow, you know, whatever the topic, resilience or whatever it is, I can just feel like I can go on forever. So that is the flow, because we're losing sense of, we don't have a separation from what we're presenting or whatever task it is, like the surfer and ourselves. We're just like in it to win it, and we love it, and we lose sense of time totally, and that's basically it. So listen to that voice, find your passion, because life is too short. Life is too short. One thing that I think neurotypicals can learn from us fast-minders, we fast-minders, is learn from our interest-based nervous system. You don't need to maybe take all the challenges along with you, but take what we've already had to learn the hard way, you know, and just follow that inner voice, follow that passion. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a passionate day.